A few years ago I was running a workshop in West London, in Paddington, and we'd rented a room. We found a local room above a restaurant, and as we arrived the room was up a narrow wooden staircase, and at the top there was a huge iMac screen, and there were images scrolling around on the screen, and these were pictures of individuals, quite often intense and characterful faces, beautiful black and white photographs. As I watched these pictures scroll around, I noticed there were dates on them. And then it dawned on me, all these people had died. All these people were journalists, photographers, filmmakers who worked in the media, and they worked on the front line. They worked in war zones, with terrorists, with drug lords, following them around, following the story. Sometimes natural disasters, volcanoes and earthquakes. They went to the very edge of where humans can exist. The very edge of places we would not go to, because they wanted to capture the story. They wanted to share that image, that picture, that story right to the front line. And journalists who do that, journalists who go to the front line, know that there's a risk that they may die. I was just doing some research, and over the last few years, typically between 80 and 100 journalists die every year. The majority are actively targeted because they're journalists. So going to the front line is a genuinely dangerous place to be. I've also been watching a TV program called Mars. I think it's kind of spawned out of the film The Martian. And it's made up of two parts. There's a part set in the current day, and it's got interviews with people like Elon Musk and Peter Diamandis, the author of The Martian, people who work in JPL, people who work in NASA. And they're talking about the imperative, the desire, the excitement of building a mission to Mars. They talk about the dangers, about the problems they're trying to solve. Even just getting off planet Earth with a payload big enough to get to Mars is a phenomenally difficult challenge. And the other part of it is a dramatized view 30 years in the future of what it would like to be on a mission to Mars. And when I imagine that, I even imagine, my life has been characterized by our exploration in space. I was born in the year that we first went into space. A huge highlight of my childhood was the mission to the moon. The Saturn V rocket was such an icon for me. And then it was a space shuttle. And now it's going to Mars, and I'm really excited by the prospect that we might travel to Mars in my lifetime. And yet I also imagine, what must it be like to be an astronaut? Just the sense of remoteness I find quite overwhelming. And then you've got the sense of remoteness being inside a thin tin can that any second could be hit by a tiny meteorite and punctured, and that's it, mission over. And all of these things make me think, what's my front line? What am I prepared to go to the edge for? What am I ultimately prepared to die for? I know that one front line for me are my children. And I actively think and explore within myself, where are my other front lines? What is it I'm prepared to relentlessly pursue? What am I prepared to risk failing to succeed? I invite you to think about that. What's your front line? What are you prepared to pursue? What do you dream about? What is it that you really desire? I really look forward to hearing from you. If you'd like a conversation, I'd love to hear from you. Thank you for watching.